Hey, what's up everyone? And well, it's that time of the year again. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy whatever holiday you celebrate, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. We all are looking forward to the year 2024, but before we get to that, our usual end of the year tradition, looking back at 2023 of what I think the best movies, most underrated movies, and best video games are, before we get to, of course, looking into 2024 of most anticipated movies and video games. And keep in mind, people, as always, this is strictly my opinion, so if you don't agree with me, don't go all ape shit. Everybody's got their own opinion that they're entitled to. And of course, like always, especially with video games, release dates are always subject to change, so don't be surprised if you see stuff that I'm anticipating next year that was on the list for this year. And of course with movies too, the same sort of thing. Due to the writers and actors strike, there were many delays from this year going into next year. So without further ado, let's start out with what I think the best movies of 2023 are, starting with Number 10, Thanksgiving. Yeah, I apologize I neglected to give a review on this one, but I got overstuffed with a lot of other things I had to work on. But here's the short gist of it. It obviously is a horror slasher movie taking place around this time of the year, not one, but two Thanksgivings to be exact, and it's a little mixture of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with its, brutal, bloody violence, and a little bit of Scream with its detective work trying to track down and find a killer dressed as a pilgrim in the town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, who, kills people, and the motives and everything like that. May not seem like the most original idea, but at the same time it's familiar and fresh and keeps you very well invested and entertained. And thanks to some great performances, especially out of the lead actor himself, Patrick Dempsey, playing the town's police chief, who, does add a lot of twists and turns to it, as well as some rather gruesome factors to it. So, yeah, it's not R-rated for nothing, but it's entertaining as hell, and like the title suggests, there are no leftovers. And I'm interested to see how a sequel will turn out. But anyway, let's not jump the gun. Enjoy this one, because it's definitely more than just a mouthful of turkey here, with a lot of blood added in, might I say. Number 9. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor of Thieves. Yeah, one that I honestly thought was going to suck this year, but thankfully, much to my surprise, it didn't. I mean, it's on this list, right? And thanks to some great performances out of Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and a bunch of others that you'll notice throughout the film, and thanks to some great action and CGI work, I can't say much more there. It's very well paced for a 2+ hour runtime. So, honestly, even if you don't understand, I've never played this board game, and for the record, I've never had, because it's a little too complicated for my taste, I understood this movie pretty well, and explains itself over the course of the whole film. It's pretty well paced, has a few surprises, some sentimental moments, some great works of magic. It's what you come to expect out of an action fantasy movie like this one. So if you're worried that this one is going to suck like I did, you'll be very surprised at how entertaining, funny, and action-packed it is. It's just a shame that it had to bomb at the box office like many other good films that released this year. So, give this one a watch, people. It will not let you down. Number 8. Plane. Yeah, a rather seemingly generic-sounding title for a rather awesome movie starring, of course, Gerard Butler as our main hero and pilot, who, if you've probably seen the trailer, he ends up having to land a plane in an emergency on a rather seemingly hostile environment and protect the passengers. Again, seems generic and simple, but trust me, if you watch the whole movie, you will be fully invested and it'll keep you on the edge of your seat throughout the whole time. I mean, it's one of those that you just root for the main characters, and Gerard Butler, man, he just kicks ass in this. No doubt about it right there. I mean, he knows his responsibility as the captain of the plane and everything like that, and it is just awesome. So, give it a watch right here, people. You won't be disappointed. Number 7, Scream 6. Yeah, one that I anticipated for this year, and I was not disappointed, and, a bit skeptical seeing how, especially after the last one was a great sequel reboot, bringing in some new cast members, as well as bringing in some of the old ones. So a little bit of nostalgia thrown in there and passing on the torch. So a little bit of the same stuff in here, just only one of the original actresses returning. And, little bit of vibes of Jason Takes Manhattan, sort of, when I first heard about this idea, but I worry for nothing. So, thankfully, this one brings in some fresh new ideas, as well as keeping familiar at the same time. Yeah, so, have no worries. This one definitely takes an interesting turn and has some interesting surprises, as well as some blood. So, what's my favorite scary movie for this year? Well, this is one of them right here. Number 6, Air. Yeah, based on the true story and thanks to great directing by Ben Affleck, who's done some great films before, this one is yet another one with a touch of nostalgia. And sadly, this is another one that didn't do so good at the box office. Well, what do you expect when you release it the same week as Super Mario Bros. And due to bad marketing, I guess. But aside that, it's very well acted with, of course, him, but mainly Matt Damon, who works for Nike, during very tough times that they're going through. And, well, out of all odds, they try to sign Michael Jordan to a business deal. And that's what the whole movie's about. It throws a ton of nostalgia right in your face from the first second the movie starts. I mean, it's just a good reminder that it takes place in 1984. And the performances, like I said, with not only him, but Jason Bateman. I mean, the amount of work and the extra mile they go to try to get Michael Jordan signed to a business deal to get these shoes produced is phenomenal. So, yeah, you could argue there's product placement in here, but come on. That's what the whole movie's about right here. It's the whole backstory right there about how Michael Jordan came to be with his famous shoes that are still popular even to this day. Well, maybe not as popular as they were back then. But bottom line, give this one a watch. It's on Amazon Prime if you have it, and it's on Blu-ray. Because most people, like I said, didn't see it in theaters. I actually did. So, that's all I can say there. Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I know Disney and Marvel especially have not had a very good year, and most of their films flopped pretty hard both financially and somewhat critically. But thankfully, this is probably the only saving grace for the studio. And, well, if you enjoyed the first two, you'll definitely enjoy this one for sure. I mean, I ain't got much to say. I did a review on it. Go check it out to see in full detail. Well, spoiler free for the most part. But damn, this one I didn't think was going to be that great. But thankfully, thanks to some real emotional moments in this film had, and some great action, the characters all returning, some moments that may seem a little questionable, but if you watch, obviously, Avengers Endgame, it makes sense for the most part. The soundtrack, well, may not have been as great as the last two with its old school music selection, which, this was just my minor nitpick here, people, but it didn't get me down at all. It was a great conclusion to a great trilogy. I guess you could say third time is a charm here, and, well, all I could say is it's out of this world. And the only savior, I would say, for the MCU this year, because it's been a pretty rough ride for them the past few years, I would say. Number 4, The Holdovers. Okay, yeah, I mentioned this and brought it up in my best modern-day Christmas specials list because this is fairly new, and, well, I consider it that great if it made this spot on the list of the best movies of 2023. It stars, of course, Paul Giamatti, in case you're not familiar with the story, and again, this is going to be obviously spoiler-free, taking place with a rather mint and old-school feel during the 1970s, and it gives you just that. I mean, it's refreshing to see a type of movie like this taking place at a boarding high school in a secluded town in New England during Christmas break when most of the kids go home and spend time with their families. There's a few that have to stay back because they have nowhere to go. And with Paul Giamatti as the not-so-popular teacher, he's very strict and tough, and, well, the kids are stuck with him. And so you think it's going to be a tough time, and it turns out to be a very good ride, and thanks to some great performances, especially out of him, you could always expect one for the most part. But this one is definitely one of them. So I was fully invested through the 2+ hour runtime of this film, and it may have a few slow parts, but when it gets to where it's got to go, it works. And it's full of some surprises, some humor. Yeah. I would say it's probably the best new Christmas special that released in 2023. Number 3, John Wick, Chapter 4. That's right, people. I finally got myself into this franchise, and all I could say is, boy, I've been missing out on quite a lot. I didn't see any of these in theaters, I'll be honest, and I didn't think much of them at first, but then when I gave them a watch, wow. This is definitely Keanu Reeves' definitive kick-ass action franchise right here. I can't say much more there. And this right here is a fantastic conclusion. I ain't going to give much away, but all I could say is if you love the first three, this one is fantastic. And even though it's an almost 3-hour runtime, it does not drag. I mean, when the action's there, it's great. Especially the staircase scene towards the end of the movie. Wow, fantastic. I mean, it's bloody, it's violent. Keanu Reeves just knows how to keep this franchise going easily. All I could say is, he is John Wick, and you do not mess with him. Number 2, Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's right. One that I highly anticipated for this year, and I can safely say, wow. Christopher Nolan has himself another winner. Obviously not his first World War II-ish movie, or at least one based on a true story, about the man who invented the atomic bomb with all odds against him. And of course it focuses also around the amount of media attention and everything like that that's pointed at him with the kangaroo courts and everything like that. It's a Christopher Nolan movie, people. That's all you come to expect. It's complex in every way. But man, the cinematography and how it's just presented is done fantastically with the fantastic music score, especially during the bomb testing scene. You can't say much more there. This was so worth seeing on a big screen, especially either whether you saw it in IMAX or Dolby, which is actually what I saw it in at AMC. Man, it just blew me away. And of course, all the star-studded cast of actors alongside Cillian Murphy, our main star, who played it great. And, well, of course, alongside him had Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, just to name a few. And the black and white scenes where it transitions, it's very effective and it's well done for the most part. So all I could say is, despite a 3-hour runtime, Christopher Nolan, like I said, has done it again. And the number 1 best movie of 2023, Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, that's right, people. Martin Scorsese has done it again and made another masterpiece, and despite being 3+ hours, yeah, I actually rented this one on TV. I couldn't sit through this one in theaters. All I could say is, fantastic story. I'm going to keep spoilers hush-hush, but it's just a very heavy-duty movie about, of course, the Native Americans, the oil, and with a star-studded cast of the usual frequent actors like Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and alongside them, of course, they got in Brendan Fraser, and the actress who played the Native American. Man, you can't say much more there. Fantastic right there. Way to go, Martin Scorsese. I think you got some Oscars coming your way for this one. So again, if you're concerned about a 3.5-hour runtime, just rent it on TV. And I'm sure it's going to be coming to Blu-ray pretty soon. But all I could say there is, well done, Scorsese. You haven't lost an ounce of your directing talent to make a fantastic movie, and the best one of 2023 right there. So, that's my list right there, people. Till next time, keep watching.